Okay, so last day, sorry, I'm hitting record now. We looked at this example about the model rocket, and we started this question with question number 2. But today I'm going to start here. The length of a rectangle is 3 more than twice the width. Do you guys remember this? I think it was in topic maybe 8, 7, 8, 9, one of those topics. The length of a rectangle is 3 more than twice the width. Determine the dimensions that will give the total area of 27 meters squared. So the problem or the thing about this question is instead of calculating perimeter like we did earlier, we're going to calculate the area. So first, I like to start with a picture of the problem. I draw the rectangle, and I know that the length is 3 more than twice the width. So my length here will be 2w plus 3. So the thing about this question is it's telling me that the area is 27 meters. Now, area is length times width. That's a formula you guys should remember from, I don't know, high school, I guess. The area of a shape is length times width. So I enter this formula into my problem. Area is length times width. So the length is 2w plus 3. The width is w. And this is where I'm getting my quadratic. Now, I'm not finished yet. It says that the area is equal to 27. So I set this equation equal to 27. I set it equal to 0. And this question, by the way, it solves it by factoring. You could solve this if you want it using our good friend, the quadratic formula, whatever you want. But the key here is it's the thing about this question is it's not about solving it. It's about setting it up. Once it's set up, you can solve it by factoring. You can solve it by quadratic equation. I had this question like 5 times yesterday. People asked, if we can solve a problem by factoring, by completing the square, or by the quadratic equation, which do we choose? You can solve this question however you want. The challenge here is actually setting it up. So we're going to look at some of these today. So I'm going to finish number 2. And then I'm going to ask you guys to do number 3. And I'm going to put a little winky face by that because you might see number 3 a little later on a test or something. So I'll put I'll ask you guys to try number 3, wink, wink, wink. And then we'll look at something like number maybe 4 or 5. Okay. Now, before I start or finish number 2, let's just get number 1 out of the way. We haven't done it. We skipped number 1. Let's get it out of the way. It says, what is the length of the sides of a square whose area is 81 centimeters squared? Now, the interesting thing about a square is that, and like you really, be careful with the language here. A square, it's not a rectangle. A square, the sides are all the same size. So again, this is very unique for a square. A rectangle looks like this. A square in math is a shape where all the sides are the same size. So the area of a square is x squared. This practice problem is really, really straightforward. So the area of this shape is going to be 81 centimeters squared. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides. The answer is 9. That's not really, the practice problem number 1 isn't really a good practice problem. It's just kind of a warm up to the real deal. So like I said earlier, question number 2 and question number 3 might be important for your test. Wink, wink, wink. So let's look at number 2 and let's look at number 3. I set up number 2 yesterday, so let's actually solve it. I mentioned this the other day. The object is hitting the ground. So when the object hits the ground, that's a height of 0. So my equation becomes negative 16t squared plus 64t plus 96 equals 0. I'm going to divide everything by a -1. You don't need to do this, but it's just the math way. You do not need to do the dividing by -1 step, but I am, because I'm a math teacher. Okay, quadratic formula time. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. I'm going to put in my numbers. So negative b, that's a negative times a negative 64 plus or minus the square root of b squared. So that's negative 64 squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. Okay, so time to get my calculator out, right? I don't know what this is. X is going to be 64 positive. And then I'm going to do what's under the square root sign. So 64 squared, I'm going to add to that, or well, you know, I'm going to put, basically what I'm doing is I'm putting what's under the square root sign in my calculator. So 64 squared, and then I'm going to do the 4 times 16 times 96. Okay, I'll just do it in one step, actually. Whoa, so I got a really big number here. 102.
10,240.
Perfect, exactly. Now, I'm going to take the square root of that number and see what I get. And like, guys, again, remember, use your calculators. Don't use your brains here. So
2 plus or minus 10, square root of 10.
Yes. Okay, so you're simplifying it, but yes. So I'm going to get 64 plus or minus 32 root 10. This is what my calculator gave me. Like, again, do this on your calculator. And now to solve this, I'm going to reduce, meaning I'm going to divide everything I can by 32. So this will be x equals 2 plus root 10, or x equals 2 minus root 10. I reduced this by dividing everything by 32. So there we go. All right. If there's any questions about that, let me know. Again, what I did is I divided everything by 32. What I would like you guys to do, wink, 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 is try 3, number 3. You might see number 3 on the test. Yes, there's a question.
So the answer will be 2 minus root of 10, because the height will decrease.
Oh.
Not negative, not positive. Yes?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the question,
I think with the minus.
We're talking about a rocket here. Like, yeah, you like, I want both these answers when you do this on the test. Yeah. Yeah, pick both of these answers. Okay, so try number 3. Good luck, everybody. Make sure you solve this quadratic. I will put the quadratic equation here. And the height is 6 meters. Okay, so I'll give you a couple minutes to do this. Again, wink, wink, wink. You might see this again in the future. So I'll give you a couple minutes to try this. And then, yeah, we'll look at the answer and then we'll move on.
Mister? Mister, my answer is minus 2.4 plus minus 0.8 I over 1.6. Is it right?
Ooh, okay, well, let's see. Let's do the answer for this. Okay, I'll give that looks right or that sounds right. I'll just give people a couple more minutes to do this, or 1 minute to do this, and then at 12:10 I will look at the answer. All right. Okay, so I have there's a private message in the chat, which I'll go to in a minute. Um, uh, I'll mention the name of the student just because you're probably wondering. Fatima, I will go through the answer for question number 2 in a minute. But let's solve number 3. The question from the student in the private message, again, I'll say your name, Fatima, is a very good question. It says, can you explain why the answer for number 2 is negative and positive? Well, if we were doing question number 2, if this was like a physics problem, this number equals a negative answer, and this question equals a positive answer. So if you guys were solving this like on a cell phone or something like that, 2 plus root 10. Oops, sorry, hold on now. 2 plus root 10. I'm just doing this on my calculator. This would be, again, if you solve this on a calculator, it would be 5.16. And this answer, to minus root 10, would be negative 1.16. Obviously, this is the answer. You can't have a negative number for time. So, if you were doing this on a test or something like that, I'd be looking for both answers. But if you were solving this in a physics class, this would be the answer. The positive number. You cannot have a negative number for time. But again, this is math. It's not physics. I'm not really going to be picky. So both answers I would look for. But if this was a physics problem, you would circle, or you would answer 2 plus root 10, because 2 minus root 10 would be negative. So let's look at number 3. And I'm going to clear my writing here. I think I am anyways. Hold on. There we go. Okay, so let's look at number 3. An astronaut on the moon throws a rock in the air from the top of a spacecraft that is 8 meters high. The initial velocity of the rock is 2.4 meters. The height of the rock after t seconds is this formula here. When is the height of the rock 6 meters? So height, ht, is 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in 6 for ht. So 6 equals negative 0.8 t squared plus 2, sorry, don't mind my writing there, plus 2.4 t plus 8. Now, I'm going to solve, or I'm going to simplify this equation by putting everything on the same side. Excuse me. So what that means is I'm going to move the 6 over. So I end up getting 0 equals negative 0.8 t squared plus 2.4 t plus 2. Now, if you're wondering where the 2 comes from, it's just 8 minus 6. Now, what I typically will do here in a math question is divide both sides by negative 1. So I get a positive first number. So 0.8 t squared plus 2.4 t plus 2, I'm dividing by negative 1, so I'm going to have negatives here. Negative 2.4 t minus 2 equals 0. Again, you don't have to do this, but this is kind of like how a math person would do this. You would divide everything by -1 to make the first term positive. You do not have to do this. So A, in the way that I'm solving this, and for the other people, some of the students here, you might have not divided by negative. That's fine. You're going to get the same answer as me, but A is 0.8. B is -2.4, and C is -2. So I'm going to put this into my equation. X equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So what I get is okay, I won't skip any steps there. So -2.4 plus or minus the square root of b squared, so -2.4 squared minus 4 times a times c. I'm running out of room there, all over 2a, so 2 times 0.8. Okay, so let's see what I get. So x is going to be positive 2.4 plus or minus the square root of the, the square root of this number. So 2.4 squared minus 4. I'm just putting this in on my calculator, times 0.8 times -2. Just making sure I'm putting that in right. Yes. Okay. So what I get here is 12.16 over 2 times 0.8, which is 1.6. So my answers are x equals 2.1, I'm almost out of room here, 2.14 plus root 12.6 over 1.6. Oh, what am I going to do? I'm almost out of room. And x, oops, sorry. My wrist hit the space bar, my bad. And x equals 2.14 minus root 12.6 over 1.6. Okay, let's see what I get. So 2.14 plus the square root of 12.16 divided by 1.6, and I get 3.5 for this. And again, guys, I just did this on my calculator, so I'm not doing anything special here. So 2.14 minus root 12.6 or 1.6. Oops. Divided by 1.6, and I get a negative 0.84. So these are both my answers. The answer for this question will be 3.5. Now, so Fatima asked this question earlier. You know, I'm getting two answers. One is positive, one is negative. Which is the answer? The answer is 3.5. And that's because we're looking for the time. You cannot, there's no such thing as a negative time. So again, if you did this on a test, I would take both answers, but the proper answer here, if this was, you know, like a physics problem, would be 3.5 seconds because it's positive.
Mr. Mark,
Yes.
can we
Something wrong here.
Oh,
I
Mr.
have
Mark?
3 point. I have
Uh,
something different. Yes, I have 3 plus square root of 19 over 2.
yeah. So again, I'm getting some messages in the chat there. Sorry, I don't know why I put 2.14 here. It should be 2.4, not 2.14. My mistake was to put 2.14 there.
Mr. Mark, I want to ask about the square root 12.16. Do we have to find the square root or just keep it and put it in the calculator?
Just keep it and put it in the calculator.
Well, like we don't have to find the square root, yeah?
No. Like you let your calculator do it. Like like I don't know what the square root of 12.6 is. So keep it and put it in your calculator. Yes.
It came out as 4 square root 19 over 5.
Okay, cool.
So we just do the one you did, like the step you did.
Yes.
Okay.
And sorry, I had a typo there with my math. I had 2.14. It should have been 2.4. So this should be 3.7. And anybody in the chat or in the comments there can correct me there. It should be 2.7, or sorry, 3.7 for the first answer. And the second answer will be, sorry, I'm just doing this on my calculator. It takes a minute. Negative 0.71. All right, so, and again, we picked the 3.7 for our answer. All right, any questions on that one? And let me know if you guys got the same thing or something different.
Nope, all good. Thank you, Mr. Mark.
All right, cool. So let's do one more question. Sorry, I'm just reading the question.
I have something not with. I have something wrong.
Okay, what's
I have
going on?
3 plus. My answer is 3 plus square root of 19 over 2. Why?
How did you get 3? How did you get 3 plus? Because this term here is negative b, which is 2.4.
Negative 2.4. Negative 2.4.
Yep.
Plus square root of negative 2.4 over 2.
Not over 2. Not over 2. You have
square
to
to square.
Yep.
Square 2.
Yep.
Minus 4, 0, multiply 0.4, multiply minus 2 over 2 multiplied by 0.8.
Yep. We have the same thing.
3 plus square root of 19 over 2.
You might, okay, let me just check my calculator to make sure that mine is okay. So just hold on 1 second. I'm just making sure everything's cool. Times 2. Yeah, no. Yeah, you should get this. Just check your calculator and make sure everything's cool. All right. What's another one I want to do? Okay. I guess I'll do number 4. It says now, so okay, again, wink, 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 like, you know, between us, make sure you know how to do numbers 2 and 3. But let's look at number 4. The hypotenuse of a right triangle is 10.2 meters long. Okay, so let's draw a little picture here. So 10.2, oops, it's not a very nice right triangle, is it? So the hypotenuse of a right triangle is 10.2 meters long. One leg is 2.1 meters shorter than the other leg. What that means, a leg meaning the side of the triangle. So we're going to set it equal to x. And the other one is 2.1 shorter than the other. So this will be x minus 2.1. It says, find the length of the legs and round to 1 decimal place. Now, again, like I told you, between us, for your test next week on Tuesday, make sure you know how to do numbers 2 and 3. However, we can do number 4. The formula for a right triangle is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. This is not on your test, by the way, so you don't need to worry about this. So what I'm going to get is x squared plus x minus 2.1 squared equals 10.2 squared. So I'm going to simplify this, meaning I'm going to put it in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c and solve for x. So what I end up getting is x squared. Now I'm going to do this part. So this is going to be, I'll write it here, but I will erase it. Okay. So x minus 2.1 squared would look like this. So I would get x squared. I would get minus 2.1x minus 2.1x plus 4.41. So what I get here is x squared minus 4.2 x plus 4.41. So x minus 2.1 squared would be what I just wrote down there. Now, just give me 1 second here, and I'll write this down.
Mister, you factored the x minus 2.1?
Yeah, like factor isn't the right word, but I know what you mean. Because this is squared, I squared it. I multiplied it by itself. So yeah, factor isn't the right word, but yes, that's what I did there.
Okay.
Yeah. This one, by the way, is just for practice. This is a challenging question. Make sure, and again, I cannot stress this enough, wink, wink, you make sure you know how to do questions 2 and 3. So what I end up getting here is I get x squared. So I'm as this, I think it was Nasser who said this. I'm factoring or I'm multiplying this by itself. So x squared minus 4.2x plus 4.41 equals 10.2 squared. And I get 104.04. So I'll put that in, why not? Okay. Now, what I want to do is get this in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. So this is 2x squared minus 4.2x. Everything's going good so far. And I'm going to move this guy over. So this becomes 4.41 minus 104.4. So I get 99 or negative 99.63. Okay, so A is 2, B is negative 4.2, and C is negative 99.63. All right, let's solve this. Oof, I do not have a lot of room here. Oh, that's not good. So x will be negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So what I'm going to get is, I'm going to run out of room here. X will be negative b, so negative a negative 4.2 plus or minus b squared, so negative 4.2 squared minus 4 times a times c all divided by 2 times a. Okay. So guys, I'm going to do this really quickly on my calculator and see what I get. Just give me a second here. So give me 1 second. I'm just going to, like I said, punch this in on my calculator. So I'll start with the plus term. And just give me 1 second to do this. Oh, hold on. I got to delete this. Hold on. Sorry. I'm putting all of this in on my calculator in one step to see what I get. Just making sure I'm putting it in right. Okay, so my positive term, when I add this, I get 8.2. And when I subtract this, I'm going to get negative 6.1. So these are my answers, and the 8.2 would solve this question. The length of the leg here would be positive 8.2 because you can't have a negative length of something. There's no, it doesn't exist. So there you go. That is this example, number 4. All right, any questions about this? All right, so okay, so let's move on. There's lots of practice problems here. You can see some answers. That's it. That's it for Unit 2. Amazing. Wow. We finished Unit 2. Now, some of you guys might be wondering, we have a test next week. Exams start June 16th. And we have 2 chapters left. You're thinking, there's 4 chapters in this or 4 units. How are we going to get this done? Well, the good news is units 3 and units 4 are very, very, very short compared to units 1 and 2. So it's only 12:30. Let's start with chapter 3. Give me a second to open it up here. Actually, what I'll do is I'll share my screen and just remind you of a couple of things as I'm opening up the Unit 3 or Topic 3 notes. So you can see my screen here. Don't forget that there's an assignment. There's 4 assignments. So there's one this week, and then you have your test, and then there's one more. Assignment number 3 is due this Sunday at midnight. So if you have any questions, you can let me know about the assignment. I had a couple students write me yesterday. They were asking a bunch of questions about the assignment, and I answered them, no problem. And then test number 2 will be Tuesday, just like we did before, in the big lecture theater at 11:30 a.m. And hopefully this time everybody will be on time. You know, like we'll get it started nice and early. Nasser, you raised your hand. Do you have a question?
Mr. Mark, Unit 3 and 2 will include test 2, yeah?
Okay, so if I go back here, back to my home page, test number 2 will be on topics 15 to 26. Now, that seems scary because we're only starting topic 20 right now, but topics 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 were very big. Topics 20, 21, 22 are very short. But if you're wondering what your test will be on, it's here. Topics 15 to 26.
Okay, no
Yeah,
problem.
that's a good question.
So we're starting with the topic 20.
20, yeah. And again, I cannot stress this enough. You like, I think you guys will like this. Hold on, where's my pen? Chapter 1 and 2, but especially chapter 2 was very, very long. Like topics would take us an entire class. Unit 3, very short. It's the topics are not as intense, which you'll see here today because I'm going to start topic 3. What was that? What else was I going to mention? Yeah, okay, that's it, really. I will say this to the people who struggled with test 1 or found test 1 long, or, you know, just test 1 wasn't for you. I think you'll like test 2 a little better. It won't be as long, and like it shouldn't be as difficult. And of course, we will have review for test 2 before your actual test. All right, so I'm sorry, I'm saving these to my desktop so I can open them. Just give me a second here. Desktop, Unit 3. I'll share my new screen. There we go. Excuse me. Okay, so I have a good question in the chat. The question in the chat says, it's a private message, so you guys can't see this. It says, can you show us where we can find the Unit 2 answers? Yeah, they're right here at the end of chapter 2. So when you get to page 101 or after page 100, the answers are right here. Okay, let me make sure I'm sharing that. Yeah, so the Unit 2 answers, I'm trying to circle that, doesn't look very good. There we go. They are on page 101. Okay, so you can see all of the answers to all of the questions are here.
It's on the print me course notes, yeah?
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you for that. Again, if you're looking, if you go to the Unit 2 print me, you know, the print me course notes, it's right here or right there. So at the end of the Unit 2 print me course notes, you can see your answers. Okay, and by the way, guys, we'll talk more about the test next week. So like Monday or Sunday or Monday, we'll talk, or I can talk more about the test. It hasn't been made yet, so I'll be working on that this weekend. All right, Unit 3. So there's obviously 4 units in this course. again, don't panic about the notes. Like this unit is a lot shorter than the last other units. Unit 4 is even shorter than that. So what is Unit 3 about? If Unit 1 was algebra and Unit 2 was algebra 2, meaning like more algebra, what is Unit 3 going to be about? Well, Unit 3, excuse me, is about radicals. Radicals meaning square roots, exponents, like x squared, and logarithms. We haven't even mentioned logarithms yet, but I'll talk about logarithms probably in the next class or so. Oops, sorry. So let's look at topic 20, and let me zoom in here. Sorry, I'm just getting my screen ready. Okay, so we're going to start with exponents or fractional exponents. And there's a lot of information on this slide, so I'm going to give you a second to just kind of look at this and absorb, not absorb it, not memorize it, obviously, but just take a minute and look over these examples, and then I'll explain them. So I'll be back in just 1 minute. Okay, so topic number 20, fractional exponents. We're going to look at the laws of exponents here and apply them to questions. Very short topic. So it says, we're going to look at the definition of these two terms, which I have right here. Okay, in Unit 1, Topic 4, back long time ago, back in early May, we looked at expressions with exponents, integral exponents. So like we looked at, like 2 squared, or we looked at 3 to the minus 2. But in this section, we're going to look at the possibility of fractional exponents. And we've looked at 6 laws for exponents shown below. Let me very quickly go over these. So we did this in topic 4. The first law, if you have a times m times a times n, or sorry, I'm saying that wrong, a to the power of m times a to the power of n, if we're multiplying two exponents with the same base, we add the exponents. If we're dividing, we subtract the exponents. Again, this is review. We did this in topic 4. If we have the exponents like this, where they're multiplied, or they're outside of brackets, we multiply them together. If we have 2 numbers outside the power of n, they're both raised to that power. I mean, we did all of these back in topic 4. Rule number 5, very important. A to the power of 0, anything to the power of 0. So I'm here in number 5. 10 to the power of 0, a million to the power of 0, a to the power of 0, it's always equal to 1. And another important rule, if you have a negative exponent, this is actually a very important rule. If you have a negative exponent, you write what we would call the reciprocal. So you would flip the fraction and write it as positive. So this is a review from topic 4, if you can remember that back in early May. And we're going to look at this. Also, in unit 3, we're going to use these laws to simplify or solve equations or expressions. Now, there's 2 new laws here. And I kind of wish we talked about this earlier. I'm teaching another course here, pharmacy math. So I teach a course called Math 1730, which is, so these students have already done 1700, and they've done, some chemistry and some physics, and they're doing a course called Math 1730. And it's called pharmacy math or math for pharmacy technicians, and they're using stuff like this. And I kind of wish I had time to go over this with them. This is a law, but this is just something you should know in general. This is a really important feature, I guess, of mathematics. When I take, and this is really cool, I'm going to write this on the bottom here. Oh, hold on. Let me fix my notes. There we go. Okay. So when I take the square root of something, so like say the square root of 4. So I'm writing here on the bottom. This square root is actually technically supposed to have a 2 in front of it. And what this means is I'm taking 4 and I'm raising it to the power of 1/2. That's what a square root is. So what about a cube root? So let's take the number 8. If I take the cube root, this would be 8 to the power of 1/3. If I, again, I'm just making up numbers. If I take, I'm just going to make up a number here, but if I take like 100, and I raise that, and I put a 10 right here, this is 100 to the power of 1/10. So a square root, again, I want you to look at the left. What I'm circling there, a square root is just raising a number to the power of 1/2. Okay, so it's really, really important that you know that. Rule number 2 or law number 2 is just an extension of that law. If I took a number, let's say I took let's say 6, and I raise it to 2/3, this could be simplified as 2 root 6. Oops, sorry. 3 root 6 squared. So this 2/3, the 3 goes here. I'm taking what's called the cube root on my calculator, and I'm taking 6 and squaring it. And you'll see me do this. Don't worry. If you're confused right now, don't worry. I'm going to do this. So let's look at some examples of this. So for this definition, this rule in math, if I have a to the 1/n, it's going to equal n root a. So, if I had 8 1/3, I did this earlier, this would equal the cube root of 8. This 3 goes right here. And you can enter this on your calculator. if you're looking at your calculator, it's under the replay button. You can enter this stuff on your calculator, which is so like all of these you can do on your calculator. Very, very, very.
So I combine the denominator of exponent into square root of a number.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it any better myself. The denominator becomes the root factor, or what I don't even know what it's called, but the term for the root. Like I'm tempted to say square root, but I don't want to. I wish. Okay, I can't show you my screen, but what I can do, give me 1 second, and I'll show you this. Or sorry, I mean, I don't even need to do this really. All of these numbers here, this is why these sections are so quick. Every number here you can enter on your calculator. So how do you do it? How do you put A, B, C, D, E in your calculator? Well, let me bring up a picture of the Casio, and hopefully I can show you. Just give me a second here. I'll try to open up the best picture. Give me 1 second. Okay, share my screen. Okay, so you guys should be, oh shoot, I closed it. You should see the calculator in my Chrome here. So like, again, you should see, I hope you see the Casio. So like all of these questions, how do you enter them into the calculator? Well, hold on. Let's try this one. These calculators are so blurry. Like I really want like a high definition of the calculator. Maybe I should just take one myself. I have one in front of me. What's this one? What's the dimensions? Not any better. Well, this one's a little bit better. Okay, so if you look at your calculator here, this is the Casio calculator. Yours might look a little different. It might be gray or it might have better buttons, but this is the Casio. Now, to enter this information in your calculator, you use this button. Okay, so you see that? This button right here. This button will create x to the power. And again, I can't really do this. I can't really zoom in because the picture's so blurry. But second function of this button, why can't I zoom in? Hold on. You can kind of see it there. You can almost see it. Second function of this button will give you, it's basically what this says is you can enter the root sign and then you can enter the term here.
Also, you can hit shift on the square root.
Yeah.
Give you a cubed square root.
Exactly. So if you were trying to take like, 4 root, I'm just going to make up a number, 200, you would press shift and this button here. Now, keep in mind, if this question was on a test and it said like solve 8 to the negative 1/6, just press this button, right? So this button, it says X and then the box. Just put 16 for the X, and then in the box you would put negative 1/6. I mean, your calculators are amazing. They can solve most of these questions. So I'm going to go back to my notes now, but I really encourage you. I know this sounds really like stupid or it sounds really nerdy. Take your calculators this weekend and mess with them, play with them. Try to solve some of these questions with your calculators because, I mean, I can't say this, I wish I had this calculator when I was in university. I never did. I had to do fractions all by myself. I had to do these calculations all by myself. I didn't have a calculator to do it. You guys have an amazing calculator. So make sure you experiment with this button. And again, your calculator might look a little different, but if you have a Casio brand calculator, it will be very similar to this. Okay, so let's go back to the notes here and let's look at these questions. Very quick, we can do these because we just have to enter them on the calculator. I mean, there's nothing to do for A, B, C, D, and E. Literally, we just put them into the calculator. This, and this. You
Mister?
can just enter into your
I
calculator.
don't have to write the second thing.
No.
Can I put -2?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes.
in
100.
the-
Okay. Yes. So this is so what you ask is a really good question. So, okay, let's imagine you have question number A on your test. Okay. And, or on your final, on your test, on an assignment, whatever. You don't have to show the middle step. Like, I think that this book was created before the teacher who created this book knew what this Casio calculators could do. So the short answer is all I need is this. 2, -2, 3, -10. You do not need to show your workings. I will not take off marks. All you need to do is show me your answer. So this becomes really like there's so much work here, but it becomes really, really easy if you put this in on your calculator. So
this would be a short question on the
very
test?
short. This would be like a multiple choice. So if you had like, again, if this was on a test and it said solve 16(3/4, what I would do on my calculator is I would press or enter the, actually, I don't know, because I don't use this calculator. Yeah, okay. So I would press this button, X with the square there. So that's right under the replay sign. And I would just enter for X, I would enter 16 and I would enter 3/4 and you would get your answer of 8. Very easy, so easy. Nasser, did you have a question or are you good?
No, I'm good. Thank you, Mr.
Perfect. Okay. So that's it. And the same thing, like again, for these examples here, 8, 100, this number, this number, this number, same thing. Sorry, I'm not sick. I don't have COVID, I promise. I'm just coughing a little bit. You could enter all of these on your calculator. So on your calculator, you can enter
Mister,
everything.
it could be the A is X or something imaginary.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the challenge. The challenge is eventually, not today, maybe not today. Let me look. Hold on. Give me 1 second. No. Yeah. Okay. So eventually, like probably tomorrow, because it is 1 p.m. We're almost done. I'm almost done for today, guys. Don't worry. But eventually, you'll do this with A or X or Y or Z. You cannot do this on a calculator because unfortunately, your calculator can't. The Casios can't use A's or X's or Y's or whatever. So eventually, and we'll do this tomorrow, Thursday, we can't do this on a calculator. But these examples, right? You just enter them on your Casio. You could do this on your phone. You could do this on any calculator. You just enter these numbers. So for the finale today, it's 1 o'clock. So I'll be done in, let's say, under 10 minutes. Let's look at these questions. Okay. Now, literally, all you have to do is enter this on your calculator. I mean, I could I could explain this more. 1/2 means square root 144, which is 12. But I don't think I need to confuse you too much. I think literally you put this into your calculator and you're good. Now, one thing I'll mention. Look at the difference between B and C. Very, very important. Very, very, very important. In B, the negative sign is not in the brackets. Very important. We did this in topic 4. We looked at this in topic 4. So when I do this in my calculator, it's going to be negative root 144, which is negative 12. This one is different. Oops, sorry. I pressed the space bar. So this one, very, very different. What we're trying to do for C is we're trying to take the square root of negative 144. It's in brackets, which means we're trying to take the square root of it. But you can't take the square root of a negative number. So what I would do is if you see a negative root, put your I there for imaginary number, and then take the square root of the positive. So this would be 12i. Okay, so I would like for you guys to try these, and we'll look at the answers tomorrow on Thursday. So I'm going to leave this for now. Again, you can enter these on your calculator. You don't need to solve anything or do anything crazy. You can put this in on your calculator, and we'll look at the answers tomorrow. If there's any questions, let me know. Well, there is a question from Faisal, maybe, or F-A-I-Z, Faiz. I think it's Faisal. It says, is there an app for this calculator for a laptop? So if you guys if you don't own the Casio, or if you don't have a calculator handy, this is to answer Faisal. I'm going to say Faisal's question. And Nasser, I know you just raised your hand. Just give me a minute. One thing you can use, it's not an app, but it's a website. And I'll share it with you in a second. Just let me bring it up. So Faisal or Faiz, the app, again, I'm using like air quotes. It's not really an app. But if you want to do this on a computer, this is what you want to use, Desmos. So Google the word Desmos, click here, click on the link, and you can open up a graphing calculator. You can open up so go to Math Tools. You can open up a regular calculator. So let me get my pen here. So Math Tools, you can open up a scientific calculator. So if you go to Desmos, DESMOS.com, you can open up a graphing calculator, and you can do all of this. So to answer your question, Faisal or Faiz, I don't know, Desmos.com is what you want. Nasser, you had a question?
It's regards the question of the one who asked you before. I don't know his name, but does this calculator solve variables and?
No, I wait. Okay, so I have two answers for that question. I'm almost tempted to not hit record for this, but I'm going to show you guys. Well, I showed you this before. Okay, so if you see my screen, Desmos is a normal teacher calculator. You know, you can enter your numbers here. Everything's fine. If you want a calculator that solves for variables, and I feel really strange saying this, but I'm going to tell you anyways, because I have showed you this before. You want to go to Google. Okay, so go to Google. I don't know the address or anything. Oh my God, hold on, my computer is giving me a pain in the butt here. So go to Google. Goggle, whatever. I'll go to Google. And then, so once you're in Google, type in Wolfram, Wolfram. So Wolfram, WOL. It's a Wolfram. Hit equals, or hit enter, sorry. And this calculator, which you can see is purple for a reason because I still use it to this day. This calculator will solve for variables.
Thank you, Mr. Mark.
No
You
problem.
answered my question.
Yeah, no problem.
Because I asked a lot of teachers and other teachers in my high school. They say solve the question by yourself. You don't need someone to solve for you. So I was curious, you know. I was curious if there's anything else like a calculator that solves with variables and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, okay, totally good question, because I was a student once. I did exactly what you're doing. You know, I worked through problems. I asked my professors, is there something that can help me? Is there a way I can check my answers? And nobody said anything. And I'm not saying that you use this to, you can't use this on a test, because on the test you can't use your phone. But this is such a cool tool. For example, this is for NASA and everybody involved. If I wanted to solve a quadratic, look at this. I'll click on this link here. Solve this quadratic. I'm entering in on this calculator. I want it to solve x squared plus 4x plus 6. There it is with the I. That's the answer. It's not going to help you, master the information, but it will certainly help you check your answers. You can look at the graph. I mean, yeah. I wish I had this when I was in school. When I was in school, which was 15 years ago, there was something like this, but you had to buy the program. It was called Wolfram Alpha or Wolfram or Mathematica. I think it was called Mathematica. Anyways, it was like $1,000 or something. I don't know. But anyways, you guys are so lucky you can get this for free. And I love this site. Just the only thing I want to say as a teacher, don't just remember that on a test or on a final exam, you cannot use Wolfram Alpha. You have to use your brain a little bit. So that's the only thing I want to say. I love this site. I support it. I actually pay for this. I have a membership. But please, on a test, make sure you know how to do this without our good friend Wolfram. All right.
Thank you, Mr.
No
Mark.
problem. I'm done for today. Yeah.
And, of course you have us, but this will help clarify more stuff that I don't understand.
Exactly. Well, Nasser, that's exactly why I'm telling you this, because after math, you might have engineering or medical science.
I'm an engineer student, so this would help me a lot.
Oh, 100%. I agree. Yeah. And that's why I'm showing this to you. It's not to help you with MA1700.
Yeah.
It's to make sure you're comfortable in engineering.
No, it was an off-topic question. I just asked the question out of curiosity, just.
Yeah. No, I
yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that question though. I love off-topic questions, and that was a good question. So everybody, make sure you
No problem.
you
Thank you.
learn. Yeah, make sure you learn fractions and factoring. But yeah, that's it for me. I'm gonna hit stop record.